Hey, it's Aaron here with ABTX Outdoors. Welcome to my channel. Would you like to know what I bring to an ELR match or to a long range shoot? Stick around, I'll show you what I bring. All right, what do I bring to a match? This is it. This is everything I bring to a match. Actually, I have a lot more stuff. I have duplicates of different stuff, but what I want to do is just go through all this with you, explain why I bring it, what I have, and of course, if you have any questions on anything else, drop it in the comments and I'll be happy to answer any questions. I'm not going to go over, you need your gun, you need a gun capable, you need your ammo. Those are given, right? Everyone's going to bring their gun and ammo, hopefully. If not, that's a bad day showing up without your competition rifle. So how do I transport my ammunition? I use this unknown munitions case, hard case. It is a pretty neat case. There's a lot of different people out there that use different brands. Everyone has their own flavor of what they use. But the cool thing about it is it's notched out exactly for my 338 Lapua or some bigger Magnum cartridges. So this is what I use to transport all of my made competition ammo to the event. Now, once I get there, and this is pretty cool, I ordered it straight from Unknown Munitions website. They've even engraved my name. You can pick different colors. I just thought blue would be the easiest because it would stand out and I wouldn't forget it. So that's the whole purpose behind blue. When I get to the match, and when you're ready to go up to the firing line, when it's your turn, a lot of people have different systems and setups of how they do it. Some are very fancy with a shot clock timer built into it to hold 10 or 15 rounds, depending on what stage you're shooting. I'm still low tech in that aspect. I just bring a little extra case like this. And of course, this has a lot of bullets in it right now. But when I go up to a stage, I only put the rounds needed for the stage and a few extras just in case, which in my last video that I had a dead primer and I made the mistake of not having an extra shell. So always have a few extra shells, but if your stage calls for 10 shots, I load 10 in here just so that way it's easy for me to single feed them. What else do I bring with me to a competition? Tools. These are just two examples of what I bring. I have a whole bag full of different size, depending on what could possibly go wrong. I have tools. You never know when you need tools. The other thing I didn't bring out is actually a torque wrench. I always torque wrench everything down right before a competition just to make sure nothing has come loose. And that's in my other travel bag. When I get to there, of course, hearing protection, don't want to leave without that. Of course, these are the Walker razors. They work well. They cut the wind out pretty good with these microphones built into them so you can actually hear your spotter and hear conversation very well. The next thing I bring, Notepad. I bring a notepad to write down target distance, notes, wind, anything I need to make note of. And of course, this is a sleeve band. You can get these at Walmart, Academy, anything that you can put a card into to put your dope for the targets or stages coming up. So this is kind of a quick little cheat sheet that you can put right on your non-trigger hand. Most of the time, I don't even put it on, I just lean it up there. Or I will use my Kestrel. Kestrels are amazing. It gives you real-time data of what the weather and atmospheric conditions are right where you're shooting. I went ahead and broke down and bought one. In the past, I was just using your standard Hornady ForDoff app or your Applied Ballistics app. And again, great apps. Everyone can use those. In fact, I know a lot of people that shoot in these competitions that only use those. So again, I know in the comments you might have your own way of doing it. That's fine. I'm just telling you the way I go about doing it. All right, what else do I bring? Just told you I bring my Kestrel. Shooting apps are fantastic. You can use shooting apps. I was using shooting apps. Range finding binoculars. Now, Typically, well, most matches, or every match, is going to have the targets, the range, even the elevation or the degree of angle that you're shooting at. Most will give that to you in every match. So you don't really probably need to have a good set of range-finding binoculars. These, in fact, won't even work to the furthest targets. This is the Vortex. I've got them out to, I think, around 1,700 yards on reflective targets. But these are the Fury HD 5000s. But again, I still bring them. It's easy to have the glass just to spot to some closer targets and get the field of view to see where your targets are located at. So I always bring binoculars. That's important. Next up, spotting scope. Spotting scope is very important, especially if you want to spot or try to get more practice on what the wind is doing at 1,700 yards, 1,500 yards, 2,200 yards. You need a decent pair of decent spotting scope. Now, I think these are around $800 or $900. These are the Viper HD 20 by 60 by 85 Viper HDs. So they're what I would consider maybe a little bit more than middle of the road, because glass out there can become very, very expensive. You're looking at Swarovski, Zeiss. Some of these units could run you over $5,000. So I am in the very, very low percentile when it comes to spotting scope, but it works, right? Like anything else, you get used to what you have, you become one with it, and you utilize it, and that's it. So this is what I use. Next up, when it comes to spotting or optics, I do bring my Night Force Prism, especially when there's targets further than 2,500 yards. This is what I use to slap on in front of the scope. And this is actually an additional 100.4 MOA. So that gives me an additional 100 MOA, so I can dial back down to 0, slap this on, and dial out. In my last video at White Oak Creek ELR match, I was using this for the last stage and showing you the impacts out there at 20, well, what was it, 2,500 and 2,800 yards. So it was out there, basically using that. Next up, when I'm on the firing range, I run my Garmin. First off, just to make sure that my velocities haven't changed any. This is important going back to your ballistic calculator on your phone or your Kestrel. You want to make sure that you do bring yourself somehow to track your velocity, right? There's a lot of different units out there nowadays. They're becoming more and more affordable. This is the Garmin Zero. Been using it, no problems. It picks up everything that I've shot. In fact, I don't know if I've even had any really missed shots with this, but it works very well. So I do utilize this just to confirm when I'm at the zero range, my speed, usually in the morning of or the day before a match, I do utilize this. When I actually get down to the firing range, and I'll pull out some pieces to show you exactly what I bring to the firing range, but you gotta have a good bag. Lots of different bag systems out there, and ELR and long range shooting, people have their own preference. I've seen everything from elevator bags to air pump bag systems. I continuously have, I've tried some of the other ones and they're great products, but I'm more old fashioned, or I think I'm just more used to always shooting with rear bags. So I utilize this one, and it doesn't matter the configuration that you put it in. In fact, I think, most people would say this is the way that you have to utilize it. I always use it like this. This is how I utilize it. What are these? These are just extra mats that I bring that I've cut myself that fit perfectly on this. This is in case I need to have more elevation in the rear of the gun to hit targets. So I always bring this up to the firing range as well to make sure I can adjust my bag higher or lower instead of just having this right on the ground and having to utilize your bipod up front to go up and down. You can utilize this, it's a little bit more stable. Everyone has seen in my videos, my trusty little hammer. You know, the MRAD, you know, runs pretty tight, especially with the 338 Lapua. I do get a little bit of pressure, and I'm only running 2770, maybe 2800 feet per second with a 300 grain A-tip bullet. But instead of me trying to fight the ejection out when that case expands a little bit after I've reloaded it multiple times, I just use this hammer to slightly tap it open, and it comes right off. Next up, a bipod, or I'm sorry, a tripod. You want to use a tripod. Again, this is probably one of the cheaper options that you can use as a tripod to set up your spotting scope with, or put your bag on top of this just to utilize it with your binoculars. But this is just a pair of death grips that I had, and I've modified it, took the original clamp head off that you stick a rifle into and clamp it, and put this ball turret on top of it, which accepts an ARCA rail, which is pretty neat. Now, again, people can spend upwards to thousands of dollars to a couple of $100 depending on what your budget is. I haven't upgraded yet. That'll probably be the next thing I upgrade to. It does make a difference in the field, especially on windy days. When you're zoomed in on magnification, this becomes a little unstable, has a little bit of give and play into it. So this will be the next thing I upgrade when I get to that point. What is this contraption? This is an Amazon special with a 3/4 inch tube that I bought at Home Depot that I put on top of this. It's just a duster, a blower. And I utilize this with my Milwaukee batteries. It works fantastic and it's fast. This is what I use to cool down the barrels, especially if you don't have a lot of time in between your rotations of shooting, or if you're in Texas like I am and it's 100 degrees. This is what I use to help cool down the barrel quicker. So I utilize that. I want to say this was a $30 or $20 item on Amazon. And then of course, last but not least, gotta have some kind of a rod, just in the sake of you having a shell trapped in your gun. I've seen it happen a lot, but most importantly, you might want to clean your barrel in between the days of your match or leading up to your match. Just always bring a shooting rod. So that's what I would suggest. Now, what's not on this table is what I put it all in. And I have cases, hard cases for everything, and I will give you guys an example of that as well. But waterproof hard cases, so that way you can throw in the back of your truck, is what I suggest. That's what I use to stack all my stuff into. So I'll show you what I use to transport all of this. And when it comes just to the shooting line itself, gotta have your headphones. Again, Garmin if you need it, if you're questioning your velocity. Your notebooks on how to dial up to your targets, or if you're just becoming a little bit more lazy, but I would always back myself up with that on writing. But you can use your ballistic calculator or your Kestrel while you're at the line to tell you how much you need to dial up for your next target. Of course, your bullets. And people always make fun of me on this, and they always say it's a great idea, but I always bring my job site Milwaukee fan with me. It's Texas, it's 100 degrees. You're sweating to death, especially here in East Texas where I feel like the humidity is 100%. This fan follows me everywhere I go. When I'm on the shooting line, I'll have this fan set up behind me, blowing on me, just to help keep me a little bit cooler. And again, this is another way that you can help cool down the barrel. Point this towards your exterior side of your rifle on the barrel, and it helps cool it down in conjunction with the other blower. So this is what I use. Hopefully this is helpful. And let me show you exactly the containers I put everything in to transport it. All right, I almost forgot a few other little items that I bring that's also very important to myself. First off, you got to have some kind of a shooting mat. I've had this mat, bought this at Cabela's years ago. This is my go-to mat. Sometimes you don't know what you're shooting off of, even though most matches will put down a tarp or they'll put down something for you. But at the end of the day, I like shooting off my own shooting mat. So I do bring that with me. That does go up to the range with me to practice. But when you're going up to your string of fire, I always bring that. What else do I bring when I'm up there? I bring this little knee pad that I bought at Home Depot. It's a Husky knee pad. And I utilize this for my supporting elbow when I'm pulling the trigger. I like doing that. It gives me a little bit more elevation of my elbow, but most importantly, when you're shooting a large caliber rifle, I don't care who you are, it's still gonna recoil back on you a little bit. And depending on what you're shooting off of or what the conditions are, I have skint my elbow or just rubbed it raw without having this. So I just utilize this. This is what I'm used to. This is what I bring. And then of course, last but not least, you might want to have some kind of a cover for your rifle because, you know, there might not be any place to store it. You want to always keep it in a shaded area if possible, but if there's not a shaded area, you definitely want to have this. And on top of that, this keeps out of all the dust and debris that could blow into your gun while you're waiting for your next round of fire. So take a look at that. Another Amazon find. You can get these anywhere, but this is what I utilize. All right, these are the cases that I bring to lock everything up in. Of course, I just put those stickers on there, but this is what I utilize for my spotting scope setup. This is just your normal magnification reticle. I do have a mag view. This is where you can actually set up your phone to record through your scope. That's how I do a lot of the videos out to targets being impacted. I'm recording through that. And then I do have my other eyepiece that is the MOA reticle. So that way, if you want to kind of help judge your person you're spotting for on misses or impacts with an MOA reticle, that is there. So just a cool case. I think I got this at Harbor Freight. There's no point spending, in my mind, a lot of money on this kind of stuff when I believe it's no better in some aspects of a Pelican. It's very sturdy. This is what I put the Garmin in. Same thing from Harbor Freight. For my binoculars, I do have it in a chest harness because I do utilize these for hunting. So this is what I keep it in. And of course, a range bag, gotta have a range bag. Of course, I have a trigger cam in there as well. But this is what I bring: tools, earring protection, and if I'm just going to the range to practice, extra ammo in. So, and then of course, last but not least, the hard case container that I use to store everything in that's waterproof. I got that from Academy. Open that up and you can see this is where I keep all of my different bags, tools, wrenches, anything that needs to be waterproofed is what I keep in here. Easy to throw in the back of the truck, but this is where I store all of my bags. Of course, that for targets, but this is it. All right, well, I hope this video helped you. This is what I bring to the ELR matches in long-range shooting competitions. Also, a lot of it is what I bring to the local range when I'm practicing. Again, my name's Aaron with ABTX Outdoors. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, pass it to your friends, trying to grow the channel. But if you have any questions about the gear that I bring, put it in the comments below. Hit me up on Facebook at ABTX Outdoors, and I'll be happy to answer any of your questions. Have a good day.